This is a Sports Radio Live podcast covering your world of sports. Bryan Houston's Sports Radio Live. It's weekdays at 4 on 99.3 Talk FM, the talk of East Texas. Live and local. This is Bryan Houston's Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM. Here's Bryan Houston.
Welcome back. We're here live at Dudley's Cajun Cafe. We'll be here till 6 o'clock this evening. We're in Longview. We hope you'll come by and say hello and check out some of the great food at Dudley's Cajun Cafe. Boy, I cried when they closed the one in Tyler. And so it's going to be good to be able to come up here every Wednesday. And beginning today, we're moving this to every Wednesday. Our live shot will be here at Dudley's because we're going to start a high school football roundtable that we'll have at 5 o'clock. But right now, we've got some college football to talk, and we've got a legendary man on. Let's on the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete, apecgo.com. Joining us, the legendary Oklahoma Sooners and Dallas Cowboys former head football coach Barry Switzer. Coach, how you doing?
East Texas doing hot.
We're doing great. Oh Lord, it's just unbelievably hot down here. We're ready for it to get a little cooler, I can assure you.
You bet.
Coach, given all the things that have happened just in the last 24 hours with the conference, I'd love to hear your reaction. First of all, it was inevitable that Texas A&M was going to pull out of the Big 12, but now that they've officially done it, from the Oklahoma perspective, what do you think?
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why? Because they think they can do better than the SEC. I don't know. I think it just amazes me. They're not going to find any Iowa States, Kansas States, and Kansas over there. You know, it's I just don't understand why they want to do this. What's the reasoning? What's the rationale? Has anyone ever put forth that? Is the money that difference? Is it prestige? If they're saying they think they can help their recruiting, do you think the SEC doesn't recruit in Texas right now? They recruit here. Adrian Peterson can go on any team he wanted in the SEC. Most parents want to be a part of the college experience. Most campus rosters are within 250-mile radius of the campus. They're not going to be in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham and Atlanta, Georgia. They're still going to have to get players out of Texas, and most parents want to be a part of that college experience. I just don't understand why. I just don't have any understanding of why they want to, other than maybe they think it's Texas is the reason they have to leave.
Well, I
don't know.
It's obviously the blood has gotten even worse between the two schools, and maybe it all got started with the Longhorn Network. What's your opinion of the Longhorn Network?
Well, first of all, Oklahoma doesn't have a network. We're not upset by it. If you beat Texas' ass, that's all that matters. We're locked to Texas' hip. We're going to be in the conference. Texas will be in. There's 1,700 high schools that play football in Texas. You better be locked at the hip of those people. We better be competing against them. We better be playing the same conference. We better be selling the same things. And we have to, and go. All you got to do is go beat them. A&M, you beat Oklahoma and Texas for the first time in the history of school. Why don't you give Mike Sherman and those guys a chance? Now you're going to go. Arkansas used to have 40 players. I coached at Arkansas. I remember our roster had 35 to 40 kids in Texas. Southwest Conference on our schedule, on our roster. They don't have them today. It's hard to get to Fayetteville. And they have to recruit the SEC. And I just don't understand what they think. The players in Texas are going to light up and say, oh, we get to go play in the SEC? Yeah, that's not a recruiting plus. It's not a recruiting. Those mamas and daddies want to drive to Waco. They want to drive to Dallas. They want to drive to Norman. They want to drive to Austin. They want to drive. They didn't want to drive to College Station. I don't understand why the fans want to fly all over the SEC and travel. It just doesn't make any sense to me unless someone can prove me otherwise. Is the money that much difference? That's why I question. Why? What's the reason? Is it because of Texas? Oh, you're leaving? The Texas getting the Oklahoma doesn't care. We're going to stay with Texas. You know what? We don't have a problem with Texas because we beat their ass. If you beat their butts enough, then you won't worry about it. You beat them this past year. You should have. You stayed with that.
You know, it's interesting you say that because Grant Taft was in town last week, and he said basically the same thing. I asked him, what do you think of the Longhorn Network? He says, doesn't bother me, and he says Texas has always had an advantage as far as we were concerned.
They're the University of. Get over it. They're the University of Texas. University of. Now they're going to the league that everybody's the university. University of Florida, University of Tennessee, University of Georgia. You want me to keep on going? They're all the University ofs in that league over there. and they got the best players. The draft, they just, I promise you, they are a second-tier program in that league right now. Their talent is a second-tier program in that league right now. You saw what LSU did to them, the Cotton Bowl.
Sure.
Dominated them in the second half. It was a domination. Well, it's going to be like that every week. And then they're not going to play Texas in the future. They need to change the war hymn, don't they? That fight song they got if they're going to not play Texas anymore.
They'll have to throw out a
Texas
lot of
in the
tradition.
season. They're not going to get out of there. They're going to play Texas in the Cotton Bowl every year too. We're not going to get out of that game. But you know what's going to happen? I really worry about them sitting in Memorial Stadium and them people saying when you come in there 2-8 and 3-7, say, "Hey, how you like it SEC so far? How you like it over there?" I'm concerned that they've made a terrible, terrible mistake.
Well, now the other thought is that if one other school were to leave the Big 12, and Missouri's been mentioned in this thing, that would spell the end of the Big 12 conference.
Oh, is that what they're? So that's why. That was the why they wanted to destroy the Big 12.
I don't know.
Nebraska started this thing. But now A&M wants to end it and say that's why they.
Well, I don't know, but if that were to happen, what would you see happening as far as Oklahoma's concerned? Where would you? First of all, do you think the Big 12's in trouble?
Poetic justice, Oklahoma and Texas would come into the league too in the SEC.
Would you like that?
I said both of us come in the league too. I think Oklahoma and Texas got more to sell than the other schools just went in there, but. I don't know what will happen. I know that there's no acquisitions for us, and I think that obviously that Oklahoma and Texas will go somewhere else, but we'll go where Texas goes. We have no problem doing that because we don't have an inferiority complex with them. We beat their ass, and that's what we do. We take care of business with them, and that's simple as that.
Barry Switzer with us on 99.3 Talk FM, Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live. One other thing, Coach, I was going to ask about that because we've seen so many changes in college football, and we've seen rivalries go away that we thought would never end. We've seen conferences blow up. I mean, could you ever see a day when Oklahoma and Texas would not play?
No, it won't happen. I don't see a day when A&M and Texas don't play. I just don't. Are they not going to play in the future?
I don't know.
They're leaving. They're not going to play. They're not going to have a non-conference schedule, and that non-conference schedule won't have a game with Texas on there. I cannot believe the alumni are going that far. Say, well, we don't want to even play them anymore.
It's a pretty crazy time.
Hard for me to believe.
Yeah. All right, well, let's shift gears. You've seen some pretty wild things during your time as the head coach of the Sooners. What do you think about all that's happened with the University of Miami, with Ohio State, with USC over the last few years?
That's the same thing. It happened 50 years ago. It happens today. It'll happen 50 years from now. Regardless of when you play this game's played, you won't have to play it. People that'll break the rules. The players break the rules. The players know the rules. Coaches tell them the rules. You got compliance officers. They're paid $130,000 a year. They register these cars. They know where the guy's summer job is. They know what his pay is. They know who he works for. But can you police these rogue alumni like this little 5'5" guy down there wants to be some Mr. Body and ingratiate himself to some football players because these are my buddies and I pick up their tab and I do this and that for them. And to massage his ego, you're going to have those people. There are hundreds of thousands of them out there like that. And you're going to have people do this. But how you police it, I don't know how. I tell the kids the rules, but the rules, but you know what? I'm not going to follow them around tonight and see where the hell they go. I'm going to go home, and like Bob Stoops says, that's not what they pay me for. My job is to try to help educate these kids and to develop them to be productive citizens the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years of living. That was our job, win some games on Saturday afternoon. But you know what? I'm not the babysitter. I give them the rules. I tell them the rules. Hey, this is what you are responsible for as regards to your eligibility, and you must adhere to these rules of the NCAA. If you don't, hey, then you jeopardize everything and you jeopardize our program. Kids go make those mistakes and they don't care because they're selfish, and then we got these alumni out there that don't give a damn either. And so it's going on. The players know the rules. Hell, I knew where to get a car deal. I knew where to get when I was playing, I wasn't worth a damn, but I knew where I get a low dollar on car deal. I knew where I could get my tires retread. I know where I could get the best deal on clothes. players tell players where to go. Every program has those places, those alumni that can help them if they need help. But it's part of football. It's always been there and always will be there. And you'll always read about something every year. Someone is going to violate the rules. And today's technology, it's public domain. It's out there. It's in front of all of us today. In my era, it didn't. No one cared. No one gave a damn in my era. If someone wanted to help me with something that I needed, I didn't need that much help. I got $15 a month longer check, so we about made it on that.
How do you feel about the talk of possibly trying to come up with a few $100 a month to give to players? Would that solve this?
No, not at all, and it'll never happen. Title IX will never let that happen. There are girl athletes out there that need as much help as some damn football player that needs help in soccer or softball or track. There's plenty of women athletes that need just as much help. You know what? I look at it this way. I'm old school. Yeah, what's a scholarship at the University of Texas worth? Let me ask you, what's it worth? $100,000?
Wow.
$200,000? I don't know. But let me tell you, that's what they get. They give them an opportunity to get an education free. You know, I walk down here to 7-Eleven 2 blocks from here, and I see kids in there every night, and I ask them, what year in school are you? I'm a junior. How many jobs do you have to work to pay your way through school? And I said, well, Coach, I work 2. I work another job like 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what? These kids, you get an opportunity to get an education. Why in the hell do you think we need to give them $200 or $300 a month, too, on top of that? I don't buy into it. I know what kids need help and what kids don't need help. And most of these kids, hey, if a coach needs to help the kid if he's really needs help. But don't start trying to pay athletes today a stipend when you got other sports that just need it just as much as football player does.
With all the scrutiny with Twitter and Facebook and all the social networking, with the NCAA now suddenly deciding they want to take a much more active role in investigating, could you coach in this environment now? Would you want to coach in this environment in college now the way it is?
Well, it wouldn't bother me. Well, we live with whatever came down the pipe. You know, players still work hard. They bust their rear ends. There's good kids out there. 99% of them are good kids. You just go get good kids and coach them up and see if we'll win some football games. And got a good program to sell here at Oklahoma, and Bob's done a good job with it. And it'd be fun to do it again. I'm my age, it's not much fun. But hell, it's harder to get out of bed than it was 30, 40 years ago. But
it is for me too.
Different things.
How about these Sooners now? Preseason number 1. Did you like going into a season as a preseason number 1 when you were coaching?
Never thought anything about it. Never mattered. Didn't make it. I knew whether we were good or not. I look at tape. I knew we played. I knew when we had a good football team and talent. I knew we'd be good. But when you win them, you got to be lucky. We were picked 6 times. I think when I was head coach, we won it 3 of the 6, and you can win it half the time, that you're fortunate, because when you get to those top games, the national championship games, you're playing people as good as you are or better than you are. So if you're 50-50, you're fortunate.
How good do you think these Sooners are going to be this year?
Well, their schedule benefits them. They open up Tulsa, which is a pretty good football team. Everybody's talking about Florida State up there. They ought to be talking about Tulsa. They play Florida State away. Florida State, Oklahoma crushed them last year here in Norman. They seem to think that they're pretty good, but that no one else in there. Oklahoma's 3-touchdown better team than probably anyone else they play. So they should be pretty good, have a good record.
How good do you think Landry Jones can be? You think he's a Heisman contender?
Well, he's the first-round pick. I don't know whether he might put up the numbers and win the Heisman. He had great numbers last year. He might do it again this year. And if he does, he's deserving of it.
That's amazing, the kind of quarterback factory that Oklahoma's become as far as passing quarterbacks, isn't it?
Well, it's a program that wins, and it tracks. They play in front of 85,000 people, and they play for national championships. They win championships, and they play on TV every Saturday. It's got a great tradition in college football. Good players go where good things happen, and Landry Jones knows he's going to be surrounded by outstanding receivers and people that block for him. Sam Bradford's thought the same thing. Other quarterbacks. They'll continue to recruit good players because good players come where good things happen.
What are you doing with your free time these days?
Now I'm talking on radio programs with guys in East Texas. How about that?
And we appreciate. Hey, Coach, I got one last thing I got to tell you. When I was a senior in high school, I grew up in a little town called Eunice, Louisiana. And
sure,
you came down,
I spoke in high school there. Leroy,
you sure did. Leroy Taylor was my head football coach, and you came down and spoke.
I played football with Leroy at the University of Arkansas. He was from Minden, Louisiana.
That's right. That's right. And you came down there right after y'all won the national championship.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Well, I'll never forget it because that was big stuff for the national championship coach from Oklahoma to come and talking to Eunice, Louisiana, to all the high school kids back in those days. I'll never forget that.
Was that in 1974-5?
Yes, sir. It was the after your first or second season there. I grew my senior year.
That was my second season. 74 we won national championship.
That's it.
Year here. And I went to Eunice, Louisiana. I'll be damned. I wondered what year that was.
I was there, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget
great. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Thank you, son.
Coach, thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate it. Coach Barry Switzer on 99.3 Talk FM. Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live. It was great to talk to him. And we appreciate you guys being on the air with us. We're going to take a time out, and we'll come back with more. And we'll open up some phone lines as well and hear your reactions to the Big 12 and the Rangers' big win last night and that bomb that Josh Hamilton hit and anything else you want to talk about when we get back on 99.3 Talk FM.
If you work in a club, bar, or restaurant, listen up. To be the inside champion at your job, suggest that your company switch to an Aloha point-of-sale system and hardware, because the Aloha point-of-sale system is easy to learn, easy to use, and makes your job easier. You don't need a math.
This is a Sports Radio Live podcast covering your world of sports. Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live. It's weekdays at 4 on 99.3 Talk FM, the talk of East Texas.